Coming to you from the city where the drinking water contains tiny shrimp called copepods, it's Ventriloquism Weekly. Matt Bailey back again. I hope you are all very, very well. Today is cool, man. The Action Brothers. We have a comedy, magic, mime, vent act. The Action Brothers, like I said, that truly defies explanation. Comedy, magic, mime, vent. They are comprised of Johnny Action, real name Craig Sergent, and Max Action, real name Lew Newton, whom many of you probably have met at Van Haven, and he's the ventriloquist in the act. And they were such fun to talk to over Skype. I'm just going to jump right in because I want to let them talk about the act. They were the ones when I was on with them before the interview. I said, I want you guys to just talk about what you do, because for me to try to define it, it's not going to work. So here now, as an example of what we can learn when we cross entertainment disciplines, especially within a single act, our interview with the Action Brothers. Action Brothers, welcome to Ventriloquism Weekly. How are you today, gentlemen?
Excellent. Excellent. Doing great.
Well, it is wonderful to have you. I usually like to begin at the beginning with my guests, but because usually my guests, I'm able to explain what they do, but what you do is so unique and so different and so fun. I want you guys to explain who you are in your own words. Go for it.
Okay, we are the Action Brothers, dynamic duo of comedy magic, the soon-to-be legendary Action Brothers.
Yes.
And we began years ago with a street comedy troupe, just kind of doing stuff. And my brother Max Action, I'm Johnny Action, by the way. My brother Max got interested in mime. And as a younger guy, he had done ventriloquism with puppets in the past. And then it just kind of all snowballed into what we have now as the Action Brothers. That's kind of a précis of the whole past 25 years.
That is wonderful. Now, I want to break the character first. I want to break character. How did Craig and Lew meet?
Who?
Yeah, funny.
Actually, we grew up on the same street.
Oh, cool.
It was right across the street from each other. Been neighbors ever since I can remember.
Matter of fact, when Craig was in Cub Scouts, I was his Boy Scout liaison for his den.
Every Cub Scout pack had a Boy Scout sponsor, and that happened to be Lew down the street.
Right. And so we've known each other for over 50 years.
That's awesome.
I was best man at his wedding. He was best man at mine. We've been best friends for years and years and decades. But like Craig was saying, we began just doing street improv and just having some fun doing stuff. And then we got involved in a improvisational comedy troupe. And
there was that high school theater thing.
Well,
that we both did.
Yeah.
Separately, though. I was ahead
different times.
Yeah, we did it together separately.
It's funny.
Then we went all over the Midwest with the cog players, and then things just kind of slowed down. We didn't really do a whole lot, and I found out. But during the cog players, I picked up mime, French corporeal mime, white-faced mime, and I really liked it. Craig didn't like it as much.
No,
he didn't like being quiet for that long time, I don't think. And so I was doing solo shows, and Craig wasn't doing a whole lot of anything at that point. But
the cog players had broken up at that point.
Right. And I was doing work around restaurants and so on. And if you can imagine a restaurant, you know what restaurant magic is. Imagine restaurant mime.
Yes.
But anyway, that's what I was doing, restaurant mime.
Awesome.
And they loved me, and they wanted more, but I couldn't do any more. So I asked Craig if he'd want to, and he did want to do mime, but he thought, well, maybe I can do some magic. Why don't you take up what you did? What happened right after that?
I went to a magic shop, bought me a magic trick, started doing magic that Friday.
Yeah, he went to the magic shop and said, you got any tricks I can learn real quick? I said, yeah, sure, why? He said, well, I've got a show this Friday. But that's how that began. So he was doing solo shows, and I was doing solo shows. And then at the time, though, I was booking entertainment with an entertainment firm here in town. And I got a tape from Jeff McBride.
Ah.
Of him. Now, Jeff McBride, if you're not familiar with Jeff McBride, you probably are, Matt, but some of your listeners may not be. Jeff McBride is a world-renowned magician, illusionist, but in the early days, back in the day, he would wear mime makeup. Wouldn't speak, but he wore mime makeup, and he did magic and also mime together. And
a lot of stuff with masks.
A lot of stuff with masks and cards and so on. And so Craig and I saw that, and we thought, well, if he can do it by himself, why can't we do it together? So we began doing shows together. We started a little troupe called Magic, Mime, and More Theater. And we did that for probably 10 or 15 years, I guess. Long time. And then we decided, I had a knee surgery and had to drop out for a while. But Craig never dropped out, but he kept on going with his magic. And he heard about this group called the Keepers of Magic. And he got involved with them, and he got me involved with them. And I just got sucked back into it again. But because it's been all these...
and
again. Yeah.
Retirement several times.
Yeah. But throughout the time we performed together, I never spoke on stage because I was a white-faced mime. And so, mimes don't speak, so I didn't speak. I'd do all everything else, but I wouldn't speak. And so when we came back this last incarnation of us, we became the Action Brothers, Johnny and Max Action.
Can I interject something here real quick?
Please.
We don't really mention it, but the best thing about our show now is that we have a classic white-faced mime who never talks as our ventriloquist.
Yeah, that's something while I was researching you guys, looking at things, it's very interesting. It's just the idea that if the person who is the ventriloquist, and Lou, maybe you could speak to this, that is the ventriloquist, when that's all that they're doing, the only way that you're communicating, it works for the illusion so much more, and you believe in that puppet so much more, even though the puppeteer's right there on the frickin' stage.
Right. Yeah, it's different. The only reason what brought us back into, brought me back into ventriloquism, is I had put down ventriloquism when I was a teenager because it wasn't cool to be a ventriloquist back when I was a teenager. And so I didn't do anything more with it. Matter of fact, I don't even have any of my old puppets anymore. I wish I did, but I don't. But in our comedy magic show, we were going to come up with a mentalism bit. Well, it works out great with two people having a mentalism bit. But the crimp we had was I didn't speak. And so since I couldn't speak, then the bit wouldn't work.
Right.
And so we thought, well, maybe use puppets, maybe use ventriloquism. So I modified a sheep puppet into a goat puppet and called him Farley, the mind-reading goat. And so the goat would come out and be blindfolded and
you can see Farley's picture on our website, theactionbros.com.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Theactionbros.com. BROS, theactionbros.com.
Very cool.
But he would come out and he would call out to Johnny, and then we switched places, and Johnny would then call out to Farley. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the opposite one.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. We did that, and then I got more and more involved with the ventriloquism because it's fun. I've forgotten how much fun it was, and so I bought an Axtel, World's Oldest Man, and add him to the act. And now he's Floyd the Magnificent, world's oldest magician,
Johnny Action's mentor.
Exactly. And we bring a couple people up out of the audience who are cold. They know nothing about what we're going to do. And so we got Floyd and Max and Johnny up there.
Oh, I love it already.
And we do the needle through the balloon trick.
Floyd does the needle through the balloon trick, the puppet. Actually, he instructs the two volunteers to do it, but he's the master.
That's right. Johnny goes off stage. Of course, I'm there. I'm lending a hand.
So just to kind of repeat what we've just talked about, we have a white-faced mime that doesn't speak as a ventriloquist whose dummy is now a magician.
I love it. And can you talk more to that? Because we rarely talk about ventriloquism as the entertainment, that you're going to see a ventriloquist. If you go to see the Action Brothers, the Action Bros, you're not going to see a ventriloquist. You're going to see a variety performance, a magic performance, where ventriloquism is a tool within the overarching art of the show. plot of the show. How did you arrive at that? What made you say, well, ventriloquism exists, we could do that?
Well, like I said, we brought ventriloquism back into the act because we were going to do the mentalism bit, and Max didn't talk.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we did discuss having Max actually speak during our show, but I guess for me, I don't know so much for Lou, but to me, it would have just taken something away from everything we've done in the past ever since he started doing the White Face Mime.
Right.
And we started doing our shows together, back in whenever it was, early 90s, I guess. But it just seemed like that huge of a change would be the logical step. But we're the Action Brothers. We like to do things a little different.
Yes.
So that's one of our key tags in in our show. But
That's
anyway,
awesome.
it's just awesome. I think the way this has evolved into what it is now.
Right. For those who haven't seen us, if you can imagine Penn and Teller but reversed,
Right.
That's kind of how we look. Like I said, I don't wear the white face anymore, but we're dressed in zoot suits.
Oh, I love it.
And our puppets are all dressed in zoot suits as well. They with the magic we end up bringing a lot of people up on stage for one piece or another. And what's nice about the show is it's not just magic, it's not just ventriloquism, although there's nothing wrong with shows that are exclusively magic or ventriloquism, but it's that plus
all the comedy and all of the other theatrical influences. Yeah.
A little bit of mime.
A little bit of mime. That's right. Can't get too far away from that. So I got a little bit of mime. But we have structured our show. The last convention was on comedy writing, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I took copious notes. And so now our show is designed to have a laugh or a groan or an applause about once every 12 seconds, average. About 5 or 6 a minute is what we're looking for. About 5 a minute. And it's working out a whole lot better. We're not nearly as wordy as we used to be. Well, I never was all that wordy.
No.
Johnny was always the wordy one.
It's funny. I just performed somewhere, and I got that note talking with somebody about it after the show. Always editing and figuring out where to cut, and that leads me to my next question for you: is how do you decide where all of these elements work? How you're going to make it so that 12 seconds, you have a laugh average about 12 seconds, and combining these elements to make sure that happens.
Well, a lot of stuff that we do is visual. Mm-hmm. Physical comedy. We have a levitation routine that has no speaking at all. Well, in the beginning, I say some words, I kind of introduce it and talk about it and everything. But then once the routine starts, the funny part is all visual. We have a couple of the slow motion is kind of more visual, but it just gets a lot of laughs.
For example, the levitation bit. Most of the time when you do levitation, when you see a magician do levitation, you see the subject hypnotized and laying horizontal. There's a sheet or a curtain or something laid across them, and they begin to rise. And the music's very moody. It's all real dark, and it's maybe romantic, maybe eerie. I don't know, but it's got that kind of feel to it. Well, our levitation bit begins that way. He's going to try to hypnotize me, but I don't hypnotize for whatever reason. It's just not take. We've got some real moody music playing behind the screen, but it's just not working right. So he looks out into the audience and says, "This is not working. You got any other music?" You hear this record scratch kind of a sound, and then Pee-wee's Big Breakfast comes on, and that's what we do the levitation piece to. And
what it is, I'm trying to hypnotize my brother Max, but what ends up happening is our assistant, who we use sometimes, not all the time, but our assistant.
The lovely Misdirection.
Yeah, Misdirection, yes.
I saw that on the website. I love that name. That's awesome.
She's the one that actually gets hypnotized.
But she's standing up.
So and all your other levitation routines usually start with the assistant laying down. I've never seen anyone start with her standing up, but that's how ours starts, and then goes from there.
After she's covered and out and covered rather. We pick her up. So now she's horizontal. I've got her head and Johnny's got her feet, and we put her on this table, and then Johnny gets behind her and she begins to levitate. And I come out there and I bring a hula hoop with me, and we try to get the hula hoop past her, and we finally do. And then I decide I want to do the levitation. So he passes it over to me, and so now she's folded in front of me, and it's great. And he claps his hands like this, and all of a sudden the weight comes back. Well, that comes back to Mime again. So now the weight comes back. So I'm struggling to hold her up there. I can't hold her up very well. And just as I'm getting ready to drop her because I can't hold her much longer, Misdirection comes out from behind the curtain and taps me with the hula hoop. I look at her, startled, because what am I holding? And I shove it into her stomach.
The curtain that she's under while she's levitating is crumpled into my arms. So she comes out and she's obviously no longer levitating. Yeah,
and so I crumple this object, whatever this is, that everybody thought was her, into Johnny, and Johnny stares at it on the floor. And it's funny though. It really is it's a great piece.
Oh no, it sounds it's I'm picturing it in my head, and it's hysterical, and it makes me wonder, what is your process for coming up with such unique and creative bits? How do you look and go, I'm sure it's second nature by now. This is what I do. This is what you do. This is our middle ground. This is where we come together and create these bits. What's the process?
Well, what we try to do, we try to find. We don't really have a formula, but if we did have a formula, it would be try to find one of the most visual effects as far as magic goes, or mime, or whatever. Something that maybe not everybody does, but if a lot of other magicians or performers do it in a way that no one else does it. We try to do that with everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With a lot of times we'll get together and we'll just brainstorm, and we'll say, what if we did this? What if we did this? And how about if we did this? And so we get an idea. Then we just really start going crazy with the idea. We still got this idea about having playing cards rating, certain playing card rating down from the ceiling. Haven't figured that out yet, but we won't do that yet. But once we have it, we just kind of talk it through for a minute, and then usually I'll write the initial script, and I give it to Johnny so he can fix it. And so he fixes it and brings it back to me. So I have to make corrections to his corrections. And so anyway, it takes a little bit of time to do this. But when we end up with something, the script, if you look at it, you'll see it's broken down in lines, and they're breath lines. In other words, I say a word, drop a line, say another little sentence, drop a line, say another little sentence. So it's in spoken form, and we'll put S's for setups, and P's for punch, and T's for taglines in front of each line. So you might have three, or no more than four, but usually 2 or 3 setup lines, then a punch line, and 2 or 3 more setup lines and a punch line, and then maybe a tagline after that, and that works for us really well.
One problem that we do run into, it's not really a problem, but you probably with ventriloquism, you may do the same thing. When you do the same jokes or same routines over and over and over and over again, to you, they may seem, mundane or old or something, but to the people who've never seen the show, they're fresh.
Oh yeah, and that just injects so much life into it.
Yeah, so a lot of times, we have been doing the same routine this exact same way for years, and then all of a sudden, wouldn't it be cool if we did it like this and like it? And then sometimes we'll change it, and we'll say, we shouldn't have changed that. Let's go back or whatever. So that's kind of a small problem, but that part of our show, that is, I think, for me anyway, that is my favorite part of the show is the creative process and the putting together of the routines and the blocking on the stage and all that goes into it. That's, to me, that's just, that's it.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. Craig is a magician. He'll do a trick that's, when you watch it, you're thinking, how did it happen? I mean, you're a magician, so you know how it happens, and the other magicians know how it happens. But to the layperson, they haven't got a clue on how these things go on, what happens, and what he just did. But he's done them so many times. He's saying, everybody knows how this works. That's dumb. Let's do something else. So we end up scrapping that and then come back to it because it's a good piece.
Well,
but it's Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but you triggered something. Does that make it harder to discern what really does need to come out of the act and then go back in to replace it, or are the audiences still just such a good barometer for that?
The audience is the best barometer. It really is. There's, whether you do magic or you do ventriloquism or any other type of art form, any other kind of stand-up live theater type performing. What sounds great when you're writing it and sounds wonderful when you're rehearsing it can sometimes just fall flat, because sometimes that joke was written just for you. You're the only one that gets the joke, and no one. You think everybody else is going to get it? No one else gets it. All you hear is crickets.
Yeah.
But occasionally you hit gold, and sometimes it's just by accident. You
forget a line.
Forget a line, so you say something else instead. That brings the house down, and so you're thinking, Johnny, look at me and say, "Remember that.
Oh, I love it. It's just wonderful. So, what type of shows have you been able to do with such a unique and fresh act? What is your venue?
Primarily, we do corporate engagements and theater bits. Some corporate private parties, and
a lot of Christmas parties.
A lot of
Christmas parties.
That kind of thing.
Small companies, corporations.
Yeah. We've done some walk around, done some festivals. The festivals are fun. When we do walk around, we might use Farley and try to do the minimalism act on the fly as we're out among the people.
As a walk around. And that's
Yeah.
something else that I've never seen anybody do is walk around minimalism.
Yeah, no.
You hear about walk around magician, strolling magician. Well, this is actually a two-person, well, three-person if you want to count Farley, or if you want to count Max. Three-person minimalism, although he doesn't speak. Three-person minimalism strolling, which I think is great.
The problem with it is when we do this, we gather such a crowd that we can't get away from them to try do it someplace else with some other people, and so it really does work well. We do a lot of theater shows, though. I would say probably most of the shows we've done have been theater shows. Mm-hmm. We'll have, we'll either open for somebody or we'll close for somebody. Nobody famous yet. That's why we're the soon-to-be legendary. We're not legendary yet.
Yes.
But as soon as somebody famous asks us, we'll check our schedule and see if we can do it.
Check or clear. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just wonderful. It's just so fresh, and I think you guys are a shining example of just how to be original. That you just need to see what exists and what doesn't, and kind of carve it out for yourself.
One of the nice things about our relationship is we've known each other for such a long time that people who are around us watching us backstage who meet us for the first time tell us that we're like an old married couple, because
if you've ever worked with someone long enough, there's always some little thing about them that just eats you up inside, because it's so frustrating,
Right.
And we know each other's little quirks like that.
Buttons.
Yes. And of course we both push each other's buttons intentionally from time to time.
Right.
But that's we're dudes, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We're brothers. Yeah.
Brothers, action brothers.
One time when we were rehearsing, I'm 6'4", weigh about 250 pounds. I'm a pretty good sized guy, and Craig's a little smaller.
5'9".
Yeah, but smarter looking. But we were in his basement rehearsing this thing, and we had this curtain up, and we were supposed to pass behind it, and he arranged it so we could pass behind it pretty easily. Well, it was a little tight for me. Did you get him?
What?
Did you get him?
That was my roommate.
Oh.
Everybody say hi, Taj.
Hi, Taj. Hey, Taj.
Can you go back from where he grunted?
Where were we?
I'll pick it up. I'll just pick it up with the
We were rehearsing.
Yeah.
We had a backdrop screen that we still use today.
Still use today.
And I had it where I could comfortably go between the wall and the backdrop curtain sideways.
Right. Well, I didn't want to go sideways because I was doing something differently, and I wanted to. And so what I did is I took this curtain and moved it about 2 inches out forward, and Craig didn't see that, I don't think. But
no.
But when he went back, you can come back a little bit. So he brought it back 2 inches.
And the reason I brought it back is I felt like we needed more space out on where the stage was rather than behind the curtain.
And so I come back around again, and it's still tight. I said, well, man, I got to move it further. So I moved another 2 inches out. And I think Craig saw that one. And so he comes back and he moves it back. And I didn't see him move it back. So I keep going back behind this thing, and it seems like am I getting wider? What's going on with this thing? And so I keep moving it out. So now we have this running joke that we'll move something 2 inches, and then the other one will come back and move it back 2 inches.
Whatever I do needs to be adjusted just 2 inches so it will fit in Max's head, and vice versa.
So, but I mean, it's just we just do a lot of things that we'll finish each other's sentences sometimes, not intentionally. It sounds creepy when you say it out loud, I guess. So but we just know each other really, really, really well. I've known him longer and better than I've known just about anybody. And so because of that, I know what he thinks is funny. He knows what I think is funny. And I can write something.
Well, when it comes to writing, we've said this for a long time. We're separate. We're each of us is pretty good.
Yeah.
When we're writing something.
Right.
Together, we're better.
Much better.
Yeah.
And
you gotta. Writing is just better in general when you have that ability to bounce it off somebody else, and it's such a blessing when it is somebody that that knows you and knows your sense of humor so well.
Right. Yeah. And he does.
Yeah. So these characters of Max Action and Johnny Action,
Johnny comes first.
Well, Johnny Action and Max Action.
See, there's a little 2-inch right there.
Switch them around, move the names on the title marquee 2 inches. But
Johnny's the younger brother, but Max looks up to him, and Max idolizes him on stage, and but every now and again he gets frustrated with him, and it's a there's a whole
we got a whole backstory, but I don't probably have time to go into that.
No. But there's you can sense this relationship on stage, and then we bring Misdirection out, and she doesn't speak either, but she comes out and she likes us, likes me better, but she likes us. But Johnny, she thinks Johnny's just not a jerk. That's too strong.
Yeah,
just kind of a overbearing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Johnny's character is more of a not really self-centered, but he just doesn't see that other people are being offended or whatever, while he's on stage.
Because he's Johnny Action.
Right.
So the ego, for lack of a better term, overtakes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hysterical. What within you guys said this is how we're going to approach these characters?
Well, like I say, it kind of all evolved. Johnny's character, not really. Hey, Taj. Johnny's character is not really based on anyone that I know of, but
loosely based on a few.
Yeah, several. Yeah, my main influence in magic was Harry Anderson.
Ah,
I mean,
yes.
I've got several others, but when we first started, before I was Johnny Action, I had the tie and suspenders, and not cargo pants, but the baggy pants and the fedora, because I guess I was copying off of Harry Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
But what we have now is I think I got off on a different subject than what we started talking about. What were we talking about a minute ago?
I just said the development of these characters to have such a rich backstory and how you work on stage.
Johnny's not really based on any one character. He's kind of
amalgamation.
Yeah, an amalgamation of several different, not amalgamation. Yeah, I'm trying to see. He's trying to finish my sentence, and he's not doing a very good job of it.
I love it. It's great. I'm just letting you guys go.
Yeah, Johnny is loosely based on probably Harry and Mac King, maybe little, maybe. And just, but if you watch him, he's none of these people.
No,
but he follows in that tradition. He follows in the tradition of the wise-cracking.
Only not as talented with a lot bigger ego.
Yeah, exactly.
And Max, just obviously, even though he's silent, there's still obviously the character and relationship to Johnny in there. Max
is generally the fall guy in anything we do. There are times in our show, though, that Max gets back at Johnny, happens for a quick laugh. For example, in the levitation routine, when I realized that I haven't hypnotized Max is gone where I left him. I put the curtain on him and I raise him up and I take the curtain off. Well, he's not there. So I'm like, he's laughing at me because he thought he was hypnotized and I was raising him up.
What it was is that he puts the curtain on top of me and he makes the motions above the curtain and I begin to rise. I rise about 4 inches, about I guess maybe 1.5 feet off the ground. And he takes the curtain.
I tear the curtain off.
The curtain off, and of course there I am on my hands and knees, my legs sticking out. And I look at the audience like, I'm exposed, and then I just think it's funny. So
he laughs at Johnny because I thought I was such a cool magician I could make him levitate.
That is wonderful. I just love hearing these stories. They're great.
There's one little piece of our show that if he does the line and I play the cue, you'll get a real good sense of who Johnny is. And so, Johnny, go ahead and say your line.
Hello, my name is Action. Johnny Action. Oh, man. Wrong one. It's our intro song.
Love
okay.
It.
All right. Do it again.
Take two.
Take two.
Hello, my name is Action. Johnny Action.
Johnny Action.
And of course, I'm holding a mirror, looking at myself at that point. And then I introduced Max.
And so this is my brother.
After I realized I didn't introduce him. Oh, and by the way, this is my brother, Max.
I love it. That's great.
So that's how we introduce ourselves.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. I love it. You guys are great. And so I want to close out. I have a question. I'm very curious as to what your answer is. What do you want to see from, I'm not even going to say ventriloquists, just entertainers, magicians, mimes, ventriloquists, entertainers coming up today that are looking to be unique and original as you two are?
Hopefully, the next generation coming up will try to get unplugged a little bit and actually get into some live entertainment, any type of live venue, I think I would say that like America's Got Talent, that type of thing has gone a long way for live entertainment, but still most people in America watch it on their TV.
Right.
They don't actually go to the place, to the theater to see it.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get more people out in the theater to see what we do.
More live, less screen.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that is such a great way to end it. Thank you so much, Lew Newton and Craig. I don't know your last name.
Last name is Sergent.
Craig Sargent. Thank you both. I said it backwards, so we'll do it again. Craig Sargent and Lew Newton, Johnny Action and Max Action. Thank you so much for being here today. I very much appreciate it. Actionbros.com, theactionbros.com. Go check them out. They are awesome. Thank you too.
And on Facebook, it's Action Bros.
Awesome. So excited. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you again to Craig and Lew. Extra thanks to Lew, who again everyone knows from Vent Haven, for working with me to set this up and getting in the same room with Craig so we could talk to you both. You guys were awesome, and I wish you nothing but the best. That's it for us this week. Next week, we have the variety. It continues with Michael Knight. He has a truly touching story to share. A reminder, you can find all you need to know about Ventriloquism Weekly by visiting our website, ventriloquismweekly.com. I call it the mothership because you'll get to everything and anything Ventriloquism Weekly related by going to ventriloquismweekly.com. Reach out by emailing ventriloquismweekly@gmail.com and find our group on Facebook by searching Ventriloquism Weekly -podcast for ventriloquists. Tweet us at Talk4Two. From New York, signing off for Ventriloquism Weekly, I'm Matt Bailey, reminding all you vents out there to keep talking for two.